Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The human condition, how you think, where you are in this evolving planet, is really what is at hand right now. Dear ones, I want to create something in this room. I want to create harmony. Harmony of thought. I want to talk to you personally right now about what you're facing. And for some of you, it happens slow, for others quickly. For you all have a path that is unique. But all of you are facing change. Sometimes it has already occurred in your life, and for some of you it's coming. This shift of the planet, the one that has been foretold by the ancients, is here. The whole reason for Kryon is the shift. I've told you before that many started channeling around 1989. Preparing you for what was coming, for the shift that you're in. We have told you that it's easy to be caught up in it and not understand it, because you're in a circumspect box where all you see is you. And now we are pleading for something more. Old souls, you are needed to balance yourself, so that those around you can see your balance and change because of it. And there's no reason not to change gracefully. With the wisdom that is yours around so many things, there is no reason to fear the changes at hand. We told you early on that nothing would escape the change. The things that you hold most dear may be altered. They may alter themselves. That there will be changes perhaps in your biology, readjustments and recalibrations in your relationships, in business, in your vocation, your avocation, literally in what you like and don't like. We told some of you early on that there would be greater shifts in how you feel, and the emotions you might have would be higher and lower in these times. And that some of you would even go for medical help because it was so different. And immediately you say, what is wrong with me? That's the profundity of a shift that involves everything. Shifts are not always bad. Many shifts move into benevolence when there was none before, solution when there was none before. And so I ask you, dear human, why is it that when change and shift starts to occur that you didn't expect, you would simply go to the worst common denominator, which is fear? You've all had good things happen unexpectedly. That comes with life. Why do you expect the worst during this one? And the answer is this: because this one is the big one. This one starts to change your consciousness, make you ask questions literally you've never asked before, has you perhaps awaken to new truths. And in that, many of you are starting to also become more compassionate. I'm with family. If I could wish anything for you, wish is not the word. If I could envision anything for you, It would be a smile on your face, joy in your heart. And an understanding that goes beyond the reality you see in 3D. Change. If you take the word change, 6 letters, let's design the polarity of it. Let's make 3 letters negative and 3 positive. That's the duality. How do you see it? You start with C. C could represent a coherence of sameness. Let us say you're coherent in that which you have because it doesn't change. Because it's always the same. There is a coherence that makes you want to stay in the same place. It feels good because you figured it out. It feels good because you think you know what's next. And you're more joyful in these situations of coherent belief. And then something changes. Like you have a circle of friends that have always been the same. And suddenly they bring in someone new. Perhaps someone they just met. And now the circle is different. In fact, it interrupts the circle to the point where you want to quit. Because they changed the coherence you had as the group that you were. This is a metaphor for this planet right this minute. The coherence of everything that used to be is starting to move. And often you don't like it at all. Just like the newcomer who changed the attitude, the consciousness, the feeling, and the joy of a circle you thought you knew. What do you do with it? Human nature says you quit. You've had enough, or you fight to keep the circle the same. That's not an old soul, dear one. That's what the 8-year-old in the playground does. Because it's all they have. The H, another negative one, if you want to say, is you have a really hard time with what I'll call the great lie. And the great lie is this. Everything that's going to happen in the future can be judged by what has happened in the past. You simply call upon that which was in order to cognize that which will be. And therefore, no matter what happens in the change, you see it as trouble. Always negative. Nothing good could come of this change, you say, because look at the past, it never did before. And so, the big lie is that nothing will ever, ever change past what you know. We'll say this again so you understand it. The future may be filled with things you've never seen. It may be benevolent in ways you never could see or expect. If suddenly you get sick and you have things happen to you that have never happened before, what's the first reaction? Oh, there was a coherence of health. Why did it change? What's wrong with me, you say. What have I done wrong, you say. And the big lie. That every time there's a change like this, it's bad news. Just look at what's happened in the past. Just look at the other person. This cannot be good. Therefore, you start to close up shop. The big lie. Nothing is new. Old soul, how do you feel about that? I am reciting to you right now human nature that I know is in this room. You judge everything by what has gone before. A is anxiety over it all. Anxiety that will shorten your life with change. When you take a look at the polarity of change, there are those who will understand it, and there are those that will not. Change in itself is an enemy. And it's treated as an enemy because it disrupts what was, which was just fine with you. And now we'll get into three positives. We're looking at a polarity of change. And nothing is as it seems. If you have followed the channels of Kryon, if you have followed that which is the story of Michael Thomas in The Journey Home, the 7 angels who kept talking to him said, Michael, nothing is as it seems here. Don't make up your mind what you think you know. And that entire story is about a man who had a surprise at the end, something that had never happened before, even when he thought he had figured it out. It's a story about his polarity, the dark and light within his mind and brain. Old soul, as you sit there, are you willing to understand you don't know everything? It's not repeated history. These things with you personally and also planetarily are going to shift in ways that have not happened before. There's going to be integrity and compassion that never happened before amongst what you might think is turmoil, because that's all you get to see. Things are not always as they seem. And so the old soul knows that and sits back and watches and does not expect the worst. The health issue that you might have found out about, you can sit back and smile and say, that was them, not me. And you work through it, and you find other ways that nobody has ever told you before to create health when there was no health, to cure the things that nobody has cured. You tend to make up your mind before anything happens. What's going to happen? Not the old soul, not the balanced one. I want you to see in your mind, no matter what it is right now that bothers you, whether it's personal or planetary, I want you to see a clean slate and a blackboard with nothing on it. Nothing. So whatever is written upon it, you can accept, and it won't be surprise, and it won't be necessarily what's happened in the past. There are things that are going to change, that are beyond what you expect. I'll tell you, you think you've seen changes lately that were difficult or you didn't expect? Just wait. There are other things that are going to upset the apple cart of normalcy. It has to be. We told you this. And the old soul is going to watch it like they watch a television program. And they're going to go to bed after the program and sleep like a baby, because they know they're part of the shift and their balance is easy to come by. They've got it figured out. They are part of the world. They don't have to participate past being balanced. That's the job of an old soul. To have the integrity to speak out of the things that they have to believe. That is part of the old soul. To do it all with balance and love and compassion. That is part of the old soul. It's beautiful how an old soul creates change and reacts to change and is part of change. G is the great gift. Can you imagine a time where whatever you're worried about right now, can you imagine when you would look back and say, that was the greatest gift of my life? the greatest gift of our time. Something happened that caused me to do something I never would have done before, that put me in a place that is peaceful, beautiful with the people that I love, instead of dramatic with others who don't agree. And you can look and say, I would never, ever have been here in this beautiful place without that gift, what at the time seemed tumultuous. That's the beauty of the wisdom of an old soul. Being able to see a gift in turmoil. You're actually a precog of your own consciousness. You're able to see right now and feel where it's going before it goes there, so you can relax. Dear ones, things may not go where you think they will, even in a benevolent way. Would you accept something better? Would you accept another surprise beyond the one that you have personally now? An old soul will, because they'll understand that they are part of the greatest shift in humanity, one that sociologists will talk about in the future. When human nature itself started to move past that which it had ever been in history. We have spoken of this so many times. Those of you who listen are tired of hearing it. And I'll tell you, don't ever get tired of hearing good news. Because the more you hear it, the more you'll cognize it, the more you'll live it, the more you believe it, and the more you'll realize, dear ones, the creative source that I represent right now is telling you the truth. You'll get through it. Can you relax with the truth? You'll get through it. It's beautiful. E. E could stand for so many things. Let us stand for beautiful energy. The energy of completion, compassion, balance, understanding, and a good night's sleep. Do you realize how well you sleep when all is well in your life? It is. You may think all is not well in your life, and I'll tell you, that's polarity. That's you deciding what's wrong instead of what is wrong. Family, you sit in the greatest shift that ever was when it comes to humanity. You start going in the direction that will eventually create a beautiful scenario of a planet that never will war. And in the process, you're going to have to slog through some things. It may take a generation more for this to happen. The classic example, we give it yet again, was the Israelis, which you then called Israelites, who came out of slavery. The oldest and darkest energy that you can imagine, that enslaved them and their children, shortened their lives, and made life hell for a very long time. And when the release came, you would think that this would be the most joyful thing possible, and all there was complaints. And then they marched in the desert in a circle for 40 years. And I'll tell you why yet again. You cannot take those who have had the consciousness of slavery and all their past lives and all their lives and take them into the glorious promised land, because it won't work. A whole generation had to die. They didn't live that long back then. And the children did not have that. And then they could move. Even the one who led them couldn't go. Not really. That's how powerful the past is to your future. Are you getting it? You cannot then take an old energy consciousness and simply reframe it overnight. I'm giving you the ABCs. That's what I do. That's why I came. And that's why I'll continue. To give you this good news in pieces and parts that you can understand and work with, so that you won't have to die and come back. That you can do it while you're alive and here as an old soul. We need it now. So do you. Old soul, expect to live longer than you expect to live. Watch your language. Because by habit, you start telling of your own demise. By habit. Watch the words that come out of your mouth. Because they really do set a pattern for the reality of who you are. Think to yourself, there's a grand machine listening to every word, and that machine will deliver what you ask for. And think of what you're asking for. Think so hard that you may stop and reframe that which you say to others. Let the integrity of all of this sink in. You don't have to talk as fast if you don't want to. Think about what you're saying. And reframe words into benevolent, compassionate things that you expect for yourself. The affirmations are the key, and we have said this before. Make your own affirmations and say them. Let your body hear who you are. For this is the order that you're placing. Yet again, I talk about this, because that is the reality of your culture and your life. You go to a place, you sit down, you place an order, and it arrives. That is how clear this is for your life in this energy. You've got to start thinking out of what was, or what you think will be, into a new earth with a new human. You're saying it right now. Hear it. When? When will it happen? Not soon enough. Not soon enough for you. There is learning. Doesn't it make sense? You've only just arrived into this energy. There's going to be learning. And there will be some who will pass over and come back and continue. But when you come back, I've said this before, you'll be aware of what's happened. You won't make the mistakes you made before, and you'll continue who you are. There'll be a new sense delivered from your Akash, and you will remember what you're here for. It could be indeed a while before you start to see these things manifesting on your news. And yet, many of you are seeing them manifest in your personal life now. You start small and get big. It's a great message of what truly is happening on the planet. Finally, I say this. Make no mistake. You don't have to be of a certain belief for any of this to happen. Major religions on the planet teach compassion. Watch for this, for they will start to morph as well. And what they will do is they'll start seeing one another differently. Watch for this. There'll be forgiveness. Watch for this. There'll be a realization that they're all on the same track with the same Creator. Watch for this. You don't have to be what you call a New Ager to participate in one of the grandest changes that have ever taken place. It's going to be intrinsic. It's going to be something that is absolutely known. How you will act and what to do. That's who you are, old soul. Let the change begin. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Do you know what the human was built for? Do you know why you exist? Regardless of whether you believe this message is accurate or true, do you know why you exist? You exist in order to amplify the creative source in you. To capture all that is God in you and more. That's why you exist. You don't exist to climb stairs or suffer or go through all kinds of things to be worthy. You are part of God. There's no worthiness issue. Not in the eyes of Spirit. Dear ones, for you, many of you, it's the first time. My partner's never sat in this country. He's never felt the energy that is here. He's never felt the light workers that are in the room before. It's just the first time. But it's home. It's always home. There are many who hear this voice, and as I have said over and over, there is a question. Is it real? Is it the man in the chair just giving a lecture? And I'm going to say it again and again and again. There's a logic box that you live in, that you were born in, that will tell you that this particular process is not happening. That's because you were born into a survival mode, even spiritually. You had to be told what to do, how to do it, and wrap yourself around the rules of doing it. You grow up with a perception of what is accurate and not accurate, and that sticks, no matter what. There's energy right here, right now, that some of you can feel. I'm so aware of where we are. I'm so aware of everyone who sits in the chair in this great country. There's a newness here. There's an excitement here. There are old souls that are really ready to go here and who have taken what we call the gauntlet since 2012. The gauntlet, meaning a word we use. They have chosen to accept the challenge of change. Is it real or is it not? I'm going to say it again. Are you going to go with what others have told you? Or are you going to use discernment right now for yourself? Is it possible that my partner has stepped aside? He's even told you where he goes and what happens. This is the voice of my partner, using his intellect, his brain, his body, his voice, in order to give you a message from the other side of the veil that says you are known by God, you are dearly loved, you're in the middle of a great shift. And it's no mistake that you're here. We invite you to feel and discern if this is accurate or not. We throw this to you and say, are you going to stay in the box that you were told is the truth, or are you going to discern the truth for yourself? And if you can just for a moment pry open that box and start discerning, I would tell you it is so safe to feel the love of God in a different way than you ever have. And you may say, well, I believe in something slightly different. I've got a beautiful prophet that I love, and I want to tell you this. This will not take away from that. God gets bigger. Love gets bigger. Compassion will fill your life like it never has before. And everything that you're doing now will just get grander. We're not trying to talk you into changing into another belief system. We just want you to sense God inside. That's all. And when you do, there will be an awakening and you'll know what to do next. You'll start understanding you are empowered, greatly empowered. How many of you are here? Don't raise your hand for a healing today. Well, I want to tell you it's a good time. It's a real good time. Because part of God inside discovery is for you to grasp the healing template that has been dormant all these years and ready to be activated by your belief in the change of energy on this planet. Things are shifting and changing. It's a good time this weekend to claim a healing you came for and needed. Some of you need a healing of the heart. I know who's here. I know who's here. You might wake up every morning and feel the pain of either loss or distrust. You don't need to anymore. It's just not needed. You can feel instead the peace around the situation right now that makes you sorrowful. There are those right now, and I know who's here, who have recently lost those you've loved. I know who's here. I want to tell you, they are here. Can you believe that the soul is eternal? That's what all the masters have told you. It is. Where does it go when it leaves this planet? I want you to forget what you've been told for a moment and use spiritual logic. If the soul is eternal and it was in your body, why does it have to leave and be unattainable, unavailable? It doesn't. It stays. Part of it stays. Part of it remains for one reason. One reason. To give you peace over the loss. Did you know that? They're still here. They're still here. There is so much that we would love to speak of that is beyond the physics that you know, but is part of a grander physics that is there. Multi-dimensional quantum physics is the way the universe runs. Three-dimensional physics is the way you run, because you just haven't discovered the rest yet. And part of it explains so many things that you think are mysterious or magic or not true. Are you feeling it yet? Are you feeling it yet? That this could be accurate and true? That the love of God is far bigger than anything you have ever been told? And it lays right here in this room, ready to meet you in a way you never, ever have allowed before. I am Kryon, messenger. That's all. I don't have a work for you to join. I have information for you to feel. Truth. that God is in every single human being and can be accessed to improve your life. This is the energy that was predicted for that exact thing. And so it is.